Hello, this is Foon from hustlecastle.site. Welcome back to my channel. Alright, so back in September, we got a new weapon type, pistols, and 2 new ancient sets that use them. I made a video about this new weapon type itself, about the weapon speed, new rune effects it had, etc. And I promised a part 2 to follow up that video where I would test out one of those sets. Then things got a little hairy, the game was removed from the Apple App Store, and I personally took 2 vacations in October, so I was really crunched for time. But I'm here now with more Raider content, as well as apologies for the delay. So let's hop to it. The set I chose to borrow was the Raider set. I had already tried Mercenary Jewelry and found that the main effect didn't target my DB enough and was useless most of the time. And Raider is just so hard to build. Seems too good an opportunity to get to look at one closely without having that insane portal grind. The way these set tests work is that the community manager messages those of us in the official content creator program asking which set we want to borrow. Then all 6 pieces of that set magically appear in our inventory. The items are all perfect rolls, but with normal gear, normal as opposed to arena or event gear. And we're not allowed to reforge them. We can play with them for 2 weeks, after which they need to be cleaned and ironed and left on one fighter, then they disappear as magically as they arrived. Being able to do this is the reason I applied for the Content Creator Partnership Program in the first place, but I wouldn't be too jealous. Since the items are all normal base gear, adding the borrowed set to my squad is always a bit worse. So it's not an advantage in the arena or clan war. I end up using my normal fighters for those because the base gear is so much better. And I do all the testing outside my normal gameplay. In my part 1 pistol video, I went over the set description of both new sets. I also went into detail in what it will take to build this set. I purposely covered that info in part 1 video to cut time off this video, because test videos are always really long. So I'm not going to repeat it, but if you're thinking of building Raider, I would definitely watch that. I put chapters in the video description. Chapters are what YouTube calls timestamp links in the video description, so you can fast forward right to the Raider set description part of that video if that's all you want to see. I will quickly read the 6 out of 6 Raider description just so we know what abilities we're looking for. Each of the unit's shots has a 35% chance of crippling the target. The unit's shot deals damage equal to 150% of the target's physical and magical armor, and reduces the target's max health by 12%. Lasts for 4 seconds, up to 4 effects. After 3 crippling shots, the next crippling shot will affect all enemies within a small radius around the target. So effect number 1, crippling attack. Once every 5 seconds, a cannonball falls onto a random enemy, dealing 200,000 physical damage. Also, the cannonball deals extra pure damage, equal to 150% of the target's max armor. Once 3 cannonballs have been launched, the next cannonball will affect all enemies within a small radius around the target. Also, it will stun all enemies for 2 seconds and set them on fire. The burning enemies take 150,000 damage and have their healing rate reduced by 65% for 3 seconds. So we're basically looking for that crippling attack and this cannonball. I'm going to do a few slow duels to see how the set works. Kind of a demo. I want to identify the animations and cooldowns of the Raider abilities. Okay, so here's the gear that they gave me for my borrowed Raider. Ah, great. Okay, I'll just cut that out. And here's who I'm going to be fighting against, a stripped down EOL with just armor. I don't want too many effects happening, I really just want to see the Raider's effects. And the hero is stripped down too. I don't want anything else happening as much as I can, I just want to see the Raider. So I'm going to set up my squad duel, just the Raider versus the EOL. And I have some movie magic. I am going to super slow this down. Here's the first shot. Okay, she turns kind of red and her health just jumped up. That must be the health increase soul. Second shot's about to hit her. Okay, and her health went down, so that must be a crippling blow. A crippling attack, I mean. Now, here comes another shot. It's really slow, but that's good. It gives me time to talk, time to breathe. Okay, look normal. Okay, now they're turning red. They're both turning red, which to me implies it's an ability coming from one of them, and it's going to have to be the Raider. I think this red is the animation for the crippling attack. Although the timing was a little off just then. All right, the clock is at 56. I'm expecting a cannonball 5 seconds in, so presumably pretty soon. Okay, here comes another shot. Okay, her max health on the shark, the EOL, did go down. So it looks like another crippling attack. Ooh, and I also see some green. I think that might be poison. If you remember when we saw the pistols, they have a poison ability. And here she's red again. So I think the red is the crippling attack animation. Oh, there's the cannonball. And right away she lost like 170,000 health. That's got to be the 200,000 physical damage that the cannonball causes at the start. And then the second one is going to be some pure damage. Maybe that happens when it hits, or maybe they were combined. Waiting for the hit. It's exploding. Waiting to see the damage come through. Oh, okay. It's not as extreme as it seems. I think her health increased at the same time that the damage took effect. So the health went from like 388 to 241. That's another like $150,000 health reduction. It just looked really intense because the health increased at the same time as the damage hit. The max health increased at the same time the damage hit. So that cannonball did 170 and another 150. That really is a lot of damage. I mean, this is an EOL with a lot of armor, so maybe it wouldn't always be that like 300,000 level damage. All right, now the raider is stunned. So I'm going to go normal speed for a second, just until we get back to where the next cannonball is expected to arrive. Okay, so the tank just lost all but 1 health point, and I don't think there's anything that could be except the cannonball, even though I don't see it animating yet. The tank heals a bit, and now the cannonball finally makes its appearance. But no new damage when the cannonball appeared like it did last time. It lands and explodes, still no damage. Everything, the animations have cleared, and the tank even heals some more. We're all the way to 248 now, and there's some healing happening. Oh, and she kind of drops that out of nowhere. So what I think we just saw was the animation and the damage out of sync. Not so unusual for a bug like that in the game, certainly not for a new set. And as I confessed, I recorded this footage like a month ago, and I'm just now getting to looking at it and cutting it into a video. So maybe it's already fixed, though there were no announcements about fixes to the Raider set, I'm pretty sure. Now, if we go over to the stats screen, Raider did 1.6 million damage, respectable for an archer in a 12-second battle against just one opponent, but not amazing. Certainly respectable considering she's new out of the box without any event gear or enhancements. All right, let's keep going. I did a second duel, this time with an EOL on each side. So 1 versus 2 rather than 1 versus 1. And I'm going to slow it down again too. And again, first shot looks like it might be a crippling hit with that red haze, but the increased health souls triggered at the exact same time, so it's hard to say for sure. This is actually great. The health numbers are exactly the same as the first battle, so it's a little easier to see what's happening because I remember the numbers. Okay, the health drops from 649 to 519, about 130,000. This could be the cannonball, or it could be the poison from the pistols. Actually, I think poison. Now the ball appears. At the same time, the increased health soul triggered. So max health is now 1 million, same value as from the last duel. And the health dropped down to 343. So that's an additional 170,000 damage. That matches perfectly with the first Cannonball in the first duel. That damage was also 170,000. The ball drops, explodes, disappears. Now health goes down to 283, so 60,000 damage. That might just be a critical hit. Critical hits are normal base weapon hits that deal double damage. Now another big drop of health at 254, down to 118, so 160,000 drop. I think this is the second pure damage hit from the Cannonball, just again with the animation timing being off. So things are looking bad for Team Right Side. Oh, and there goes the last of her health. Max health didn't change though. Even though she's red, I might be wrong about that being the animation for crippling hit, but I think it is. I don't think I'm wrong. I'm not sure what took that last 100,000 health. My best guesses are the delayed overtime effect from poison, and it's over, so let's look at the stats. Let's give a hand to Ariella for dealing 100,000 damage with just her fists. That's nicely done. So this was a 10-second battle, and the Raider did 1.4 million damage. My thoughts are basically the same from the first duel. Respectable, especially considering she's out of the box, like a purchase set, but looking like she will not be replacing Dragonborn as King of the Archers. So I'm going to do the duel again, this time with less detailed commentary, but with numbers enabled, so you guys can see yourself the damage coming through. And I've also slowed this down even beyond the normal half speed with my movie magic. And you know, the red haze animation also looks like the timing is off. It's happening, but it's not always happening in sync with the changes of max health. You see the screen shakes before the Cannonball comes down. I would normally say it's more likely I'm making a mistake than a computer is, but just a visual bug on the timing of an animation would be a pretty common enough thing to see in Hustle Castle. Okay, and there we go. Similar performance and stats from the other two duels we already watched. And now I'll do one more. This time I'll put in 3 different tanks so we can see better the Raider's abilities that affect all enemies. Maybe she'll do a lot more damage when she has more targets. And I'm going to keep one tank on her side to make sure the battle doesn't end quickly. And again, I'm going to keep numbers on, but I'm going to play it at even slower than half speed, so you guys can kind of see it for yourselves. And there goes the first Cannonball, right on schedule. And we got to a second Cannonball. Oh, it's not looking good for our Raider. She's lost her protector. And there comes the third Cannonball, actually a second late. It would be cool to see a fourth Cannonball happen, but I think it would be really hard for that to happen. So the fourth Cannonball is really cool, get a lot of cool stuff, but 1 Cannonball every 5 seconds. That means that doesn't happen until 20 seconds into battle. Now this kind of weird staged all tank battle might happen, but in the arena, you're just never going to reach 20 seconds. And against bosses, it doesn't really work either because you only have 1 target. And what makes the ability interesting is that it hurts everybody. All the enemies, I mean. But it does nice damage. Oh, she has her self-resing soul on. All right, down to one-on-one. Oh, not sure who won actually. Very close. All right, so this time she did do much more damage. She did almost 7 million damage. So against more opponents, it is definitely a better set. That's a very good sign. Very optimistic now to see how this does in real setting. All right, I think that is enough for now. This is already looking like a 20-minute video, so I think we're out of time. Sorry to leave you all hanging again, but I want to make shorter, more frequent videos. I really think that's better. So I'm going to cut it here for today with the promise for part 3 when I take Raider into some real duels with a full squad very soon. Before I say goodbye, remember to leave a comment on this or any of my YouTube videos each week with your game ID to enter my diamond giveaway. My diamond giveaway is sponsored by the official Hustle Castle community. There are 5 sets of 250 diamonds up for grabs. Thank you for watching. I am slowly closing in on the 1,000 subscribers that I need to apply for the YouTube Partner Program and earn a portion of the revenue from the ads that play before my videos. So if you could hit the subscribe button, I do appreciate it. I wish you all a nice day and high rolls. See you around.